Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where this time we're doing another character review and analysis for Bodhi Rook, one of the central protagonists of Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And Bodhi is a character that I think the average, not only Star Wars fan, but the average person can relate to in a way. In a sense, he is an everyman. He is a normal person trying to make his way in the galaxy who ultimately has to find the courage to become part of something bigger than himself. I think that's a big theme with a lot of the characters in Rogue One, with Bodhi being no exception. So, Bodhi was an Imperial pilot, a lot like Luke and Biggs in the original trilogy. Uh, the Empire at that time was something that was appealing to a lot of people that were looking for an opportunity, whether that be an opportunity to elevate themselves out of the position that they were in or the opportunity to be a part of something. I think that's an inherent trait of adventure that lies in a lot of the characters in Star Wars. But as with a lot of people that followed a similar path, once Bodhi became part of the Empire, he really started realizing that it wasn't for the right reasons. It wasn't something just. A conversation with Galen Erso would ultimately lead him to making the decision to defect and become part of the rebellion. And he has a relatively significant part to play in the story where he is given very important information about the Death Star that he has to deliver into the right hands. He has a very tense encounter with Saw Gerrera and the more extremist branch of the Rebel Alliance. Something that Bodhi is kind of not really a part of. But he does learn to become part of the team as a whole. I think once he really gets involved in the action and you know does his part, we see that ultimate payoff in the Battle of Scarif, where he does ultimately sacrifice himself in order to get the Death Star plans delivered, completing the mission of the Rogue One squad. And there's not a whole lot to say about Bodhi. In the grand scheme of things, he's probably the weakest overall character of Rogue One as far as being the most simple, pretty much point A to point B story. There's a lot of characters in the film that are a lot more dynamic and have very dynamic relationships with the other characters, where Bodhi is just kind of there. He's the former pilot who's able to use his skills for good once he joins the rebellion, and then he ultimately has to make that call to sacrifice himself. I do think his main story arc in the film is bravery. He kind of goes from being someone who is more anxious and hesitant to go through with his decisions to someone that really, at the very end, doesn't even hesitate to lay down his life for the cause. He's essentially learns to become brave in the face of danger, which I think is a good payoff for his character and how he is established when he first appears. But yeah, we're gonna give Bodhi a 6.8 out of 10. Again, I don't think he's the strongest character in the film. I don't think he's a bad character, but I do think he is another member of the Rebel Alliance, and his story mirrors that of so many other characters with wanting to join the Empire, defecting, and then becoming part of the opposing forces that are trying to take the Empire down. But yeah, 6.8 for Bodhi, and that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you think about Bodhi Rook in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already. Helps the channel grow, and you don't want to miss out on any of our content. And as always, may the force be with you. Now let's blow up that like button and go home.